Hello everyone, my name is Latoya. Welcome to my crafty space. Right, in my last video I went over what I'm going to be doing moving forward in regards to my stamp collection. Today is Monday, it is December 12th, and after assessing how my weekend was, because I worked 2/12s, I'm a nurse if you don't know, it was very busy. I've come to the conclusion that I can't actually stick with that. So starting today, moving forward every day, I will stamp out one of the stamp sets that I own so I can put it in my physical catalog. Now, some people asked me questions in my last video how I'm going to go about this. I am literally figuring this out as I'm doing it with you guys. Sharing. I just knew that, well, one, I'm a paper crafter. I love having things physically in my hand. I love seeing things. And one thing that I noticed while trying to do challenges and get my mojo going and just working is that me actually just stamping out what I have and seeing it ink to paper is vastly different from just looking at the cover and looking at the stamp set itself. Actually seeing it being used gives me more motivation and drive to do something with it, which is the whole purpose of us having these goodies in the stash. So I'm just sharing what I'm doing with you all, and hopefully, hey, if you are interested too, I don't know, maybe we'll make up a hashtag and we can just hop and see other stamp collections. Plus, it'll be a great way to see what all I have. I pretty much have a decent grasp on my stamp collection, and I call it my forever stash because I only buy stamps that I'm keeping forever. I'm not the type of crafter that buys things for one season and then replaces it with something else. When I purchase something, I want it in my craft stash forever. That's it. I've gotten really good the last few years with figuring out what I actually need, and what I actually want and what I can afford to have in my stash because I'm working with a budget and a small amount of space. And even if my space does get larger, which I intend upon it doing in the future, I don't want to just fill it with stuff. I still want to keep it nice, tidy, small. Now, if you haven't seen my craft tour video, I primarily own stamps. I love stamps. I make A2 size cards. That's just my preferred base. Okay, so the plan is for me to upload a video every single day showing you guys how I stamp out a set and me labeling it so I can put it inside of a binder. I have yet to purchase this binder. I'm probably going to have multiple binders because I'm going to break it up into categories. And yeah, this is just going to be a fun adventure, and I'm glad you guys are going to come along on it with me because it's going to be interesting and fun to see what I have in my stash. Now, the first stamp set that I stamped was this here. This is by Stampin' Up. This is Handmade Wishes. And just so you guys know, my stamps in my collection are by various companies. While I love Stampin' Up, there are other companies and other stamps and images that I just absolutely adore, so I've purchased them. I have not been given or swayed to give reviews on anything. My stash is literally my own. This is my hobby, and this is it's just so much fun. So I purchased this set. As you can see, I stamped it out. And then after I stamped it out, I got so motivated, I created a card. I cannot guarantee that's going to happen every time because time might not permit for me to create a card, but at least I will get the stamp stamped. And for me, that's going to be a huge win. Now, what I did, as you saw with that last sheet, I just took a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and this you can use whatever you like, and I just scored it in half. The reason I cut this in half is because that one stamp set does not need to take up this whole sheet of paper. That is so wasteful. It leaves so much real estate here, and I can use the other half of this cardstock for, you know, card making because cardstock costs money. So, for example, I have this Stampin' Up set. This takes up half. And then I have this set here. And this is by Close to My Heart, another company that I love. And this stamp set, look at that. How perfect. So from one piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, I can get two whole images, two whole stamp sets onto one. Super nice. And another thing about actually stamping out the set, I didn't even see this Merry Christmas stamp, you guys. I didn't even know that existed until I literally just put it down. This is not the cutest set ever. So cute. All right, so that's what I'm doing. Again, we will figure out the rest as we go along. Now, I could just stamp this one here, but I, on Sunday, started stamping out a set and then I had to go off to work. So I did not get to finish. And I have another surprise. which you probably noticed if you watched my last video. I purchased a new Misty. And I'll talk about that in the future also. But as you can see, this Misty here, look how bright it is. It has literally just lit up my space, aside from the light reflecting off of it. I need to get better lights for this area, you guys, but I'd rather spend money on stamps. Anyhow, I love this Misty. I love the color. It's so great. I'm super excited. Now, what I'm doing is I have this Ringed with Nature stamp set. This is also a Stampin' Up set. It's photopolymer. And like I said before, I was stamping this set out, but I was having a problem. As you can see my problem. The very first stamp that I did was on a piece of copy paper, which I recommend whenever you first stamp a stamp set for the first time. I say use a piece of copy paper. The image, I've never gotten a perfect image on a first stamp, and that's just me personally. And copy paper is super cheap, and then you can just toss it. And as you can see here, there's some blotchiness, etc. And then I went to restamp, but I was having some issues with my tape on my stamp, and then I had to go to work. So now that I have time, I can do this properly. And that's literally what this is going to come down to. If you give yourself 10 minutes to stamp out a set, and then, you know, your 10 minutes is up, just stop, and then give yourself 10 minutes later in the day, or finish it the next day. And I'm just going to be, you know, super transparent with you guys. And let you know how my little documentation journey is going. I know some people electronically catalog their stamps and such. I just want to see and touch everything. Now you could have done just like a really long piece of tape here. I just didn't. And this is a bit hard because the images come out so far to this border here. Okay, it's looking decent. Fingers crossed that it'll work flawlessly this time. So get your ink pad. Right, here I am with the images so far. I'm a little hesitant to restamp because my sentiments are already pretty bold, and if I add ink to these again, I think they will get ruined. You know how you overstamp and then your sentiments look smushed? I don't want that to occur. And my ink pad is kind of large. If I had an ink mini, which I think I do, I could use one of those just to go over these solid images again. So if that's what you like to do, that's what I would suggest. I like how this turned out. It's not 100% perfect because I have a little ink right here, and then some random rogue hair decided to tack on and plant itself, but I could just use my eraser if I'm being kind of anal and just sand it down into infinity. And I love that my sentiments were not overly stamped. Like, you can just see how perfectly crisp these are. I love the fun on these sentiments. So the reasons why I fell in love with this stamp set, seeing it actually stamped out, holds absolutely true. I love this wood slice here. It looks fantastic. The sentiments, the fonts, again, great. And this is such a great sentiment set to own because it covers more than one occasion. And I'm pleasantly surprised by how this looks. I believe this is a poinsettia. It's absolutely gorgeous. Like, look how it is stamped out versus what it looks like on the cover. It makes me want to play with it. And these, I wasn't too fond of these at all, just seeing it here, but after I stamped them, I'm like, huh, I kind of have some ideas going on what I can do with these. And immediately I thought of how to use them outside of how they're supposed to be used, quote unquote. Don't we love crafting? We take something how it's supposed to be and turn it into what we want it to be and say that's how it's supposed to be. This here is supposed to be at the top, and these are supposed to be acorns, which I did not put together. Play with your sets, you guys. It's just so much fun. Anyhow, let's see if I do want to make a card with this stamp set. I'm really motivated. If anything, I am going to take, I have this here. This is my notebook. It's my idea notebook, and I suggest you guys start one too. So every time you stamp out a set, you just go ahead and put whatever thoughts you have on cards into this book, and then you can reference it later. If you forget it, or if your time is up, you gotta go, at least you have your thoughts down. So this was super fun. I'm gonna go ahead and label this, and I hope you all do something crafty that makes your heart happy. I will see you in my next video. Okay, bye.